Good afternoon, everybody. I am Glendale Kaligid, and my assigned topic is all about the role of literature in the Philippine Revolution. So, before discussing or tackling about that, we will gonna discuss first and recall first what is literature. So we all know that literature is any kind of written works that expresses ideas, emotions, feelings, and thoughts, right? So here we will gonna be exploring what would be the role of literature in the Philippine Revolution. So literature served as a powerful tool for exposing colonial injustice and oppression. Second is fostering national identity and patriotism. Fourth one is the third one is preserving the ideals and history of the revolution. So, the first one we will gonna discuss how the works exposes the injustices and the oppression. So, Jose Rizal's novels like Noli Me Tangere or Touch Me Not and El Filibusterismo, The Reign of Greed, vividly depicted the corruption, abuses, and social ills perpetuated by the Spanish colonial government and the friars. These novels opened the eyes of many Filipinos to the harsh realities of colonial rules. And also, writers like Graciano Lopez Hena and Marcelo H. del Pilar used their essays and articles in the newspaper La Solidaridad to critique Spanish policies, expose injustices, and advocate for reforms and Filipino rights. And also, poems often express the suffering and longing for freedom for the Filipino people under colonial rule. So let's move on to the second one, the fostering national identity and patriotism. Rizal's work helped to create a sense of shared identity among Filipinos by portraying their common experiences and aspirations as a nation. The characters and narratives resonated with the people and fostered a feeling of belonging and national consciousness. And also, the writings of the ilustrados, or the educated Filipinos in the propaganda movement, aim to awaken a sense of national pride and unity among Filipinos, emphasizing their shared history and culture. So the third one is preserving the ideals and history of the revolution. After the revolution, literature continued to play a role in shaping the memory of the struggle, honoring the heroes, and reflecting on the challenges and triumphs of the newly formed nation. So again, literature during the Philippine Revolution was not merely a form of artistic expression, but a potent instrument of social and political change. It awakened the national consciousness, exposed injustices, and inspired action, and ultimately contributed significantly to the Filipinos' fight for freedom and self-determination. The writings of Rizal, Bonifacio, and other revolutionary figures remain essential texts in understanding the historical and ideological foundation of the Philippines. So that would be all for my part. Let's proceed to the next reporter.
My topic is all about the study of the propaganda movement through the works of Marcelo H. del Pilar. So, the propaganda movement was a peaceful reform movement led by Filipino intellectuals in the late 19th century. Marcelo H. del Pilar, also known by his pen name Plaridel, was a key figure in this movement. He used journalism and satire to fight Spanish colonial abuses, especially the power of the friars. So the propaganda movement started around 1872 after the Cavite Mutiny. So the goals of propaganda movement was equality before the law for Filipinos and Spaniards, representation in the Spanish Cortes Parliament, freedom of speech and press, secularization of the clergy. So the main platform is writing in newspapers and pamphlets. So, who was Marcelo H. del Pilar? Marcelo H. del Pilar was born in Bulacan in 1850. He is a lawyer, writer, and journalist. Founded Diaryong Tagalog, first Tagalog-Spanish newspaper, editor of La Solidaridad, main newspaper of the movement in Spain, and known for satirical and revolutionary works written in Filipino and Spanish. So the key works and their messages, the first one we have is the Diaryong Tagalog in 1882, co-founded to educate Filipinos using their native language, criticize Spanish rule and friars, empower the masses to understand political issues. So the second one we have is the La Solidaridad from 1889 to 1895. So platform for Filipino reformists in Spain. Wrote essays calling for justice, equality, and reforms. Critiqued colonial government and friars' abuse. The third one, we have the Dasalan at Toksohan in 1891, satirical version of Catholic prayers. Exposed the corruption of the friars. Made serious criticism easier for people to understand using humor. So the last one we have is the Kaiigat Kayo 1888, a warning to Filipinos against blindly trusting the friars, parodied religious texts to deliver political messages. So the themes in his writings is satire and irony. This is the use humor to reveal injustice. The second one is anti-friar sentiment, constant critique of the religious order's abuse of power. The third theme is education and enlightenment. He urged Filipinos to be informed and fight for their rights. Nationalism is advocated for Filipino identity and unity. So the impact and legacy of the propaganda is that it inspired many Filipinos to question Spanish rule. His writings helped awaken national consciousness, paved the way for the Katipunan and the Philippine Revolution, and remembered as a hero and intellectual leader of the movement. So, overall, his works reflected the ideals of the propaganda movement: reform, freedom, and national dignity. Even without violence, his words helped ignite a revolution. So, I hope you understand my topic this morning. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, classmate. So my assigned topic, it's all about the impact of World War II on Philippine literature. So do you have any idea what are the impact of World War II in Philippine literature? None? Okay. So World War II in 1941 and 1945 had a profound impact on Philippine literature. The war disrupted the country's culture, intellectual life, leading on censorship, destructions of literary work, and the rise of new themes in writing. So before the war, Philippine literature flourishing influenced by the Spanish and American traditions. However, the Japanese occupation in 1942 and 1945 imposed the strict control on literary impression, significantly altering its development. So, World War II in Philippine literature, there are three impacts. So, the first impact is the suppression and censorship. So, can you please read, everyone? Okay, so thank you for reading. So this means during the Japanese occupation, strict censorship limited the literary impression. Writers were provided from producing work that promoted Western ideologies, leading to a decline in English language publication. And the second impact is rise of propaganda literature. So can you please read again, everyone? Okay, so thank you for reading. So the second impact is rise of propaganda literature. So many libraries and newspapers were destroyed during the war, erasing the valuable literary heritage. So this loss greatly impacted the preservations of Philippine literature. And then the third impact is the shift to native languages. So can you please read everyone? Okay, so thank you for reading. So the third impact is the shift to the native languages. So Philippine literature during the war reflected the struggles of Filipinos, focusing on themes on nationalism, survival, and resistance against oppression. So this marked departure the pre-war literary influences. So in conclusion, World War II had a lasting impact on Philippine literature. While it temporarily stifled the creative expressions through censorship and propaganda, it also led to the growth of literature in native languages and inspired powerful works of resistance and post-war reflection. The experience of war shaped the Philippine literary themes for years to come, reinforcing the resilience and patriotism of Filipino. So that is all my topic about. So questions, clarifications about my topic? So none? Okay, thank you.